out that would look that would trick the eye into saying
If they
that's blue,
colorize it
you know?
for what was true to what was actually happening, it might not look that good. If they colorize it, like if they digitally colorize it and make choices about the colors, I guess it could look okay. I don't know. But again, it's back to what you just said. Does it do anything for the plot? Or is it just out of sheer curiosity? Like you want to see what it would look like in color. Anyway.
It sounds like it's just I was at first when you said I thought they were going to start retconning the old episodes to fit some new narrative or something like that. When you said they were going to go back,
that's a long.
Then I would have had a really like
Doctor Who is the longest.
They've already retconned the hell out of Doctor Who. Let's leave it alone.
They've retconned Doctor Who. They've been retconning a lot of stuff. Let's leave Doctor Who alone. The actual 60th anniversary of Doctor Who's very first episode, An Unearthly Child, is Thursday, the 23rd of November this year. Where do you want to stream this to watch it? If anyone wants to see any of the 60th anniversary hoo-ha, thanks to a new worldwide deal, Doctor Who will be available to stream on Disney Plus starting in November. All right, let's see what else we got in the news. Brandon Routh was on, what's that show? Quantum Leap. Good for you, Brandon. We enjoyed that. Oh, news for your wife, Liz. Sedona's Second City trained improv troupe is going to be doing space improv, Star Trek improv, like just, I don't know, sci-fi improv one night only. We're not going to Sedona, Arizona to watch it, but they'll be out there doing it. From Klingons singing a space opera to a PowerPoint presentation about an alien world created on the spot by audience members, we're going where no improv troupe has gone before. That got me thinking, should I be doing improv comedy at Trek Condoroga? I don't know.
Well, you'd have to get a troupe that's willing to come.
I'd have to get a troupe that's willing to do it. John Boyega, Finn from Star Wars, is going back to sci-fi for a new film. And oh my God, it sounds weird. You guys, this sounds so weird. Okay, let me run you through the plot and I want to hear what you think. The plot of this thing, the name of the movie is called The Freshening, which I hope they change, but okay. The plot of this thing is, it's kind of in the future. Tensions over race and gender have reached such a violent extreme that the government institutes a public health initiative known as the Freshening, and everyone gets a shot, like a just like we all went and got our vaccines. Everyone gets a shot, and it makes you see everyone else in the world as the same race and gender as yourself. So I'm a white female. I would see everyone on planet Earth as a white female. I already hate it. So the plot of the story is when they get the street drug hits it, right? And it momentarily like dampens the effects of this so people can see the world as it really is. What the actual?
Yeah, that seems like a really weird concept.
I'm feeling like, no.
I don't know. You never know. At least it's original. Give it that. I mean, we have so many movies that are kind of redone, and at least it's kind of an original idea.
You're right. It's original, but I feel like it's going to go preachy. Like it could get real preachy real quick.
Bill's saying Lathe of Heaven did that for Race 40 years ago.
Oh, really?
So maybe not a new idea.
I don't know.
So yeah, that sounds pretty bizarre overall though. So what else we got?
Crazy Rumor Mill says Disney Plus TV series is going to see Chris Evans and Scarlett Johansson come back as Captain America and Black Widow.
Why not? We can bring anybody back.
It's only a rumor. And sorry, I hope you guys can't hear my dog going crazy. And if you are enjoying robots and you want to see more, did I talk about the robot list last week? I might have. If you're enjoying the robots and you want to see more, can I recommend Ron's Gone Wrong, Chappie, Real Steel, Robot and Frank, Big Hero 6, Ex Machina, which I actually think we should do next week. The 2005 animated robots movie, Alita Battle Angel, Finch 2021, Finch, it's just Finch. It was released in 2021, which will make you cry, or the earliest robot movie ever, Metropolis from 1927. And that, kids, is the news for tonight.
Okay. Well, good news section. So we do have a drink this week, although I didn't get to post it early, but I apologize about that. I have been slammed at work. So this one's called The Dirty Robot, and it's pretty easy. Ounce of Southern Comfort, top it off with ginger ale, and stick a lime wedge in it. Done.
Delicious.
I like simple, and it's probably pretty good too.
Tiberius. Ty.
We have our mascot barking dog.
Mascot barking dog.
I will post that to the page if anybody didn't get it.
We've got little doggy treats here for naughty little doggies.
Yeah. I don't know where mine went. I don't know. She's behind me. She's quiet. She doesn't make any noise. She only barks at.
Well, you know, if you guys want robot movies, you could always go back to the good old Short Circuit. That's always out there too.
Yeah, there's plenty of. There's certainly not a new concept. I think next week though we're gonna do the 73 version of
we're gonna do
Westworld.
1973's Westworld with Yul Brynner.
With Yul Brynner,
who we mostly just know for King and I. I don't really know what.
You know, it's funny because every time I see him, I see the guy, the bad robot from Westworld, because I never saw the King and I.
Oh, really?
Certainly not as a kid. So to me, Yul Brynner was always the scary cowboy dude.
The only other thing I know Yul Brynner for is the song lyric. Do you guys remember One Night in Bangkok by Murray Head? There's definitely a Yul Brynner mention in those lyrics somewhere. On a trip with everything or something. A trip with everything but Yul Brynner. I remember that. Anyway, next week, Yul. We'll be with Yul.
Yeah, the original Magnificent Seven, right?
Yes, that's right. He was, and I've seen that. That's a
one of the greatest soundtracks. One of the greatest theme song soundtracks of all time is the Magnificent Seven.
Really?
So look it up. You'll recognize it if you hear it.
Maybe we need to do the Magnificent Seven.
But it's a Western.
But then it got redone as
Well, I mean, it has been redone in that genre, certainly. Anyway, all right. Talking about it's 2004, and it is another Will Smith.
Magnificent Seven is a reboot. Never mind. Okay, never mind.
There was a Magnificent Seven reboot, but it was also a Western. Yeah. Anyway, so this is obviously this is a very Will Smith movie.
This is a very
Will Smith. I mean, it's.
You know what was weird is he didn't want to do it funny. Like he wanted to do it really, really seriously. And they actually filmed it in a way that they could edit out any of his jokes or wisecracks. But the audiences were like, oh, no, we need our jokey wisecrack.
Yeah, it's just typical. I'm kind of watching him like, I know he has a good range, but this kind of fit in with all his other,
he'd done Men in Black already. Like,
it's very similar. It was funny because I'm watching it and he's chasing down the robot in the beginning that he thought snatched the purse.
Yeah,
and I'm like, oh look, it's Men in Black. He's like running down the
running chasing an alien or robot.
So interesting enough, you talk about the shooting. This movie had no reshoots, which is almost unheard of.
Which is so unusual.
Which is really almost not. Yeah, it's like never heard of that they had never reshoot anything. So that's
no going back. So where do you want to start with this? Because
well, let's first of all we need to say that this is not Isaac Asimov's I, Robot.
No.
If you read the book, I believe the way they put it was at the end they said it was inspired, but not even inspired.
Like
they had it actually
inspired by instead of based on or suggested by. I think it was suggested by.
The only thing suggested by Isaac Asimov. The only thing that really was in it was the 3 laws. I mean, they just took the 3 laws, which of course
not even the 4th, not even the 0, just the 3.
You must be able to protect yourself, and you can only do that if it doesn't conflict with the first 2 or something like that.
With everything else, yeah.
So, which are really good. Which is, if you're an Asimov fan, you know that was really brilliant. But I also think this movie is basically the basic core of this movie is a lesson in hubris.
Yes.
Because if you watch the film, the people are completely reliant on these robots. They assume that the robots can do no wrong. Like they're so reliant on the fact that these robots can't go wrong, and
they're
because of whatever reason they never had an incident that to me, it's just arrogance and ignorance to think that this thing would never go wrong. Now,
they didn't learn the Skynet lesson.
They did not learn the Skynet lesson.
Once you have something and it's all hooked in together, you're all done.
And as a side commentary, these robots, like you said, they have kind of the new world, the NS5s, I think they're called. the new robots have kind of it's almost like a latex face that has very human features to it. And then, of course, the rest of it is very robot-like.
Yes.
I don't want robots like that. That's just creepy.
Oh, it's too late. We have robots like that. You actually, I'm going to put.
But I want, the robots
I'm putting a link in the chat.
But the Fords they had before that had just rig metal faces. That's as human as I want my robot to look like.
So here, you guys, I'm going to put a little video in the chat. You guys can watch it later. So, okay, but here's something that this movie actually did get right. Behind the scenes, there's a behind-the-scenes shot of robot school. They were teaching a bunch of robot extras to walk. And when they walk, there's no flexibility or articulation in the knees and ankles. They're like kind of just permanent bent. And so the way the extras were walking, and this was in 2004, looked exactly like Boston Dynamics Atlas robot movements. Like the ones that you see doing parkour, it looked just like that. And those didn't get unveiled to the public till 2013. And this movie's 2004. And also the Asimov, Honda has an Asimov
I think it's
little
called
guy.
Asimov.
He moved similarly as well.
Yeah.
The ones I'm about to put in the chat, these are called Amica. They look just like these things. They're out of the UK. Amica didn't get kicked off until 2021. So these are brand new. And their first public demonstration was in last January in Vegas at a consumer technology show. And here comes that link now. When you guys get a chance, they look exactly like the robots in this movie. It's weird and creepy.
So yeah, I mean, you guys have your own opinion on the robots if you think they're creepy or not. I don't want my robots to have faces like that. Of course, I think they did that on purpose because when they do go bad, the thing is, what happens now? They destroyed all the NS4s are pretty much wrecked.
Yeah,
you have all the NS5s now. Why they were even bothering to store them? Why didn't they just send them to the crusher? I don't. At the end of the movie, they're like they're just going to put them in storage. I'm like, to what end?
That's
just crush them and recycle them because. And why were you going to store the old ones for that matter?
They weren't using them for parts or anything. Yeah.
Yeah, and nobody. The thing is, what would happen? I mean, if this happened for real, would the public ever trust robots again? Because really, the people they thought I think the robots.
We trust Skynet. We trust the internet.
No, again, this was all. These were not the robots themselves going bad. This was an AI like Skynet that was controlling them all. It was Vicky, which was basically the building computer.
What you need, Vicky. What you need for any of these stories to work is a bunch of really stupid humans, and we basically got that now. So yeah, I think this is like really. Very, very possible and very, very.
The other thing I thought was funny, it's probable. Like, well, murder is defined as one human killing another human. Therefore, if a robot kills a human, it's not murder.
Yeah, they hadn't done that far yet.
Well, that's kind of we know that technology always is ahead of the law.
Because they felt that that's the first law there was no robot will harm
right. But my thing is, okay, the robot maybe isn't you can't hold because it is a machine, but clearly it must have been programmed by somebody to do, if it did kill somebody.
Well, that was clearly James Cromwell, who then out the window.
Well, it was Vicky that really was the one that reprogrammed them all. Because it was kind of you remember her logic was
her logic she used
the three laws against ourselves, saying, well, logic says that I have to protect humans, and the only way I can protect them is to dominate them, and because they can't be left to their own devices because they will hurt themselves.
Herself had kind of sorted out that zeroth law and was enacting it. The problem is, it wasn't.
It was a very HAL 9000 kind of.
It was very HAL 9000. Although, honestly, to be honest with you, the robots didn't really kill anyone or hurt anyone. They just didn't let us do anything. Like no one could go out, no one could go anywhere. So, I mean, I guess. But, I mean, if we had robots like that, I was talking to someone, and they were like, well, would they let us play football? Would they let us do gymnastics? Or would they say, no, that's too dangerous. You can't do that.
That's the thing. That's the problem.
I mean, would they let us go deep sea diving? Probably not.
I mean, that's, again, a common sci-fi theme is we're going to – I mean, that was Norman, remember? From iMud. Was humans can't take care of it. We looked at Harry Mudd.
Yeah.
And Harry Mudd was his horrible example, and so we're going to go out and we're going to take care of you so that you don't harm yourselves.
Exactly.
So it's not a new idea.
Yeah, it's not a new idea. And that's kind of funny because this, for a show that was inspired by iRobot, there's been other movies and shows that have touched on the iRobot concepts much better than this. This was too loosey-goosey to even be.
Yeah, it was. You have to kind of just set aside the Asimov part of this story.
Yeah, you really do.
It's not at all what he would have envisioned. It was there to get Will Smith without a shirt at some point, of course, and and running around like he did in the shower.
Oh yeah, this gratuitous shower scene that did what for the plot?
Yeah,
nothing.
And yeah, so
just Will Smith in the shower,
and then him running, chasing after the robot and everything, which was funny because you knew as soon as he started chasing that robot with the bag that it was going to end up being him just
because he was meant to be the prejudiced one. Like he didn't like robots because of what happened. It's a little bit formulaic in that respect.
Right.
However, something that they got right, something that they got brilliantly right, Alan Tudyk. Oh my god,
Alan's always great, and I love his. He's just good at whatever he does.
They did slightly digitally tweak his voice a little bit, but that's largely.
I didn't see it, and maybe it is somewhere in like the notes, but he clearly was channeling HAL 9000.
Yes, he may
His inflections were like almost scary.
Yeah.
How he had it down to how HAL sounded.
Good morning, Dave.
That very
smooth,
that calm, but it's like calm and creepy,
calm,
like
very smooth.
You're freaking me out, dude.
Yeah, he did. He had that.
He had it, and I know he must have. I guarantee if you ask him, he's going to be like, "Oh yeah, I totally modeled that after."
Yeah, he might have. I don't know. I didn't catch that in any of the interviews with him, but he did do a lot of the motion capture. It was the same technology that they did for Gollum. For poor Andy Serkis. So Andy Serkis and Alan Tudyk have that in common, that they both dressed up in this green suit with the dots on it and did some of the motion capture. And so a lot of the movement and a lot of the facials, which the robot didn't have a lot. Excuse me. Admittedly, the robot didn't do much, but just some of the way he would look, that was all Alan. And I think he was brilliant at it.
He had the wink down.
Yeah, he had the wink. And just little looks and stuff.
And see, remember earlier before we were on, I was talking about how in writing you need to kind of establish something so that when you use it later, it makes sense. That wink was a perfect example of it because he did it and he asked them about it. What does that mean? And it means so then when at the very climax of the movie and you think, oh, maybe he's turned and he does the wink to Will Smith. Okay, that why he knows the wink.
Yes. Kids, that's called Chekhov's gun. It's a trope. It's a thing. It's a literary device. Don't show the gun unless you're going to fire the gun in a later chapter. That's what that's all about.
But at least talk about the wink unless you're going to use the wink. It establishes it
Chekhov's wink
in the universe, whether it be a gadget or something. It establishes it in the universe before you get.
Something, just so you guys know, Rizzo recently watched something where a character suddenly came up with something and he felt you should have seen it earlier. And I think I tend to agree. I don't think you should just suddenly reach into your deep space pockets and pull out this magic thing that's
even we joke about like Hermione's purse, remember she pulled, but we established that anything could come out of her purse. That was the establishment, is that she had everything you could possibly think of in that.
What I'm referencing and what you're talking about, there was no prior establishment of anything, nothing.
But that was the whole point. The establishment was that anything could be in there, and she'd have it in there. That was the establishing part of that. You know what I'm saying? That was.
I know exactly what you're saying, but the character that you're mad at, there was no prior.
No, I know. I'll be honest. We're talking about Picard.
We're talking about Picard. That's okay. We don't want to spoil it for anybody. Let's move on with iRobot because I know you guys all haven't seen it.
Yeah. So anyway, what else?
Alan Tudyk, enthusiastic thumbs up.
As I'm watching the film in the beginning, before he starts chasing the robot with the purse, he's got the pie plate. He's eating the sweet potato pie, right?
Hold it or wear it.
And he goes, "Hold this." This is how my brain works. Did he go back for the pie plate?
Yeah, me too. And then later on, you see the same pie dish on Gigi's table.
So we assume he went back for the pie plate, but we don't actually see him go back for the pie plate. That's all I'm thinking. After after he catches the robot, I'm like, so you're gonna go back and get the pie plate?
Like,
why are you walking around the streets with the pie plate? Like, why are you like didn't
what
put
was it?
that
Was
in
it sweet potato
like why are you eating a whole pie?
But Bill, Hermione's a Time Lord. She might be a Time Lord. Yeah, the Time Lords do tend to start pulling stuff.
Yes, her purse is what was it? Transdimensionally transcendental.
It's bigger on the inside.
Bigger on the inside than
not unlike a TARDIS. Yeah.
So the other thing I noticed about this film as I'm watching it, this play takes place in 2035,
which is now 2023, kids. Yeah.
Okay, 12 years from now. Look at the technology in this. First of all, self-driving cars, maybe, probably. Will they go sideways on their own?
Yeah, they won't have round wheels.
I don't know if we're gonna have complete highways where everything is just maybe. I don't know. 12 years doesn't seem like a lot of time.
Doesn't seem likely, but
and of course the city is so advanced. Like the highways are like these, like they look like something out of Hot Wheels tracks.
And then
I love the parking.
Older stuff too.
I want to see where we're going to get to a place where you're going to pull up, you're going to get out of your car, and a door is going to open. It's going to slide into this massive, like dry cleaner rack thing that's going to just put your car on a thing and move it away. So,
and everybody.
I don't think we're 12 years away from that.
No, we're not 12 years away from that. When this came out in 2004, it might have seemed more possible, but not now. That was the Audi RSQ. That
Audi clearly sponsored some of this movie.
Audi and Converse in this thing. I don't know what, but Audi designed this thing and did do a mock-up that rolled to do like a real car. Of course, most of the sequences we saw it in were probably CGI because it had to do things.
Right.
But yeah, it was an interesting little car. I guess it was cool in real life, but.
Yeah, the wheels were like balls.
Like balls. I thought that was really cool.
Any direction. It was very cool. Yeah.
What did I write up about the Audi RSQ? Yeah, just special design for the movie. Thank you, Audi. And we've yet to see anything that, well, I don't know. Is there anything on the road now that kind of looks like that thing? Really
nothing that is I don't think there's anything that would be considered a mainstream production car. There's probably some supercars that would be close.
There may be some, or just some
design, Design. But I don't think there's like you're going to walk into an Audi dealer or something like that and buy a car that looks like that. But I don't think we're there yet. Again, roads would have, you looked at the ground clearance. There's nothing. Again, roads would have to be rebuilt. I don't know about you around here. You need a 4x4 sometimes just to go on the main roads.
I need 4x4 to come up my driveway. My own driveway sometimes.
So, yeah. So anyway, that was just kind of an interesting thing I was thinking about. I'm like, and I don't see us. I mean, I look at the amazing things that they are doing at like Boston Dynamics and Honda and all those other things. But are we 12 years away from a completely autonomous robot that we can just say, hey, go cook me dinner and it'll do that, or just go to the store and pick up the stuff? And
we are not. However, one of those Boston Dynamics robots.
I mean, I don't even have one of those vacuums, so.
The ones that look like dogs, those ones that have 4 legs, and they actually, there is one guarding, is on duty as a guard. I don't want to say guard dog. It's not a guard dog. It's a guard robot. At where?
Those things are kind of creepy too.
It's somewhere on Cape Cod. Where what's on Cape Cod for National Guard, you guys? Anyway, there's one on duty.
There is a national. I think there's a National Guard somewhere.
I don't think it's Otis Air Force Base. I think it's but I just saw the headline the other day, and I was like, oh hey, that's those little dog robots.
Yeah, I mean, I think in the next 10 to 20 years we're going to start seeing more and more use of that type of thing, and where they will be somewhat autonomous, where they're going to say, okay, you're going to patrol this area and report back if do you see somebody or whatever.
Space Force Station. Wait a minute, hang on. Here's Forbes. I'll tell you guys what we're doing. Space Force Station gets robotic guard dog as robots become normalized in everyday life. And there's a shot of a guy with his little Space Force uniform on and one of the Boston Dynamics robotic dogs. And it's just going to patrol. I mean, that's kind of.
But to me, that almost seems more like publicity than actual.
What is it gonna guard? Like, how are you gonna? It doesn't
gonna do. It's just like Martin saying, all it's gonna do is danger, Will Robinson, danger.
It's technically You
can't arm it.
as an unmanned ground vehicle, the robot dog has a number of
it's a
sensors.
surveillance robot. That's all it's going to do. It's going to report back to somebody else saying, "Hey, there's a dude climbing the fence."
It says, while the Space Force's robot dog can't do backflips and won't carry a weapon, it's still clearly another step into the future of our increasingly robot-filled society. This article is dated. That's the date on this article. February 27, 2023. So just a couple weeks ago.
So, right now I think, and I don't know if we'll ever, at least not in our lifetime, where we'll see something like an armed.
Nothing like, well,
I don't know if anybody would trust that.
No robot dogs for me. I've got 2 regular dogs. I don't need a robot dog. No, it's Space Force. It's not the Air National Guard base. I was about to say, but we do still have a lot. Like, we do robot surgery. Like, we have robots that do.
Well, yeah, I mean those are that's when we get kind of, is it a robot? It's not autonomous though.
No, if you're talking about like Alexas and Series and those kind of things,
they run like the robots we call, like, that build cars. Okay.
Yeah.
Designed to do a very specific motions in a very specific orders under certain circumstances. And then, of course, it has sensors and things that knows when something goes wrong to stop or adjust itself. But for the most part, it's there to do one job, and that's it. But then I'm talking about in the movie where these things are just walking around
your house, independently,
walking around the house, going grocery shopping for people, walking their dogs, doing all the things that maybe we don't want to do.
I would not trust robots. I was watching some of those. I would not trust it with my dogs.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. We're not there yet.
No, we're not there yet. Dr. Alexander says there are sentry robots now, which, I just talked about one. And yes, they've been working on, you're right behind my Grammarly. I can't read it. Working on something, UAVs, unmanned aerial vehicles. But they're not armed or anything. They're not going to walk up to you and say, stop or I'll shoot.
No, there was a spoof video going around where somebody allegedly put a pistol on a drone and was able to fire it, but it was all CGI. It wasn't real. But people got up in arms because they're thinking, oh my God, you got these drones that people can fly 2 miles away, which is true. It's a real threat because you could put a bomb on it or whatever.
That's true.
But that's really not a robot. That's still being controlled by somebody.
Yeah.
So anyway, but kind of circling back to the film.
but we are but also we've got the chat GPT, whatever the letters are. I never get those right. We've got the weird AI chat that's freaking people out. Combine the Amica robot with that chat, and oh my God, we're there. We're there. We're in robot crazy land. And it can walk around.
That's the thing. We were talking about AI and stuff like that, and that's coming. Yeah, that's going to be kind of scary. But they're already using AI in a lot of other stuff, like in just problem solving, that are too complex for humans to kind of wrap their brains around.
I guess that part's great until you start hearing some of the cray it's coming out with. But yeah, I guess that's okay.
Yeah, one of the things I did like from the movie was the demolition robot or construction robot, whatever you call it.
Yeah, just sitting there, and
the big dude, he's just sitting there. Yeah, but then when he wakes up, he's like 3 times the size. Like all of a sudden it's like
so he unfolds like a transformer
with these giant arms, and he's a
transformer robot.
Yeah, but it was very mech-like, like from like all those Japanese anime movies and stuff. It was kind of reminded me of
that. Oh man, if we're gonna have cool robots, that's what we need. The Valkyries and the Guardians and that crap from Robotech. It's like a jet that flips around and it has legs. Oh, that was awesome. But those really are.
We had talked about doing Transformers. I just felt that was a little too. I felt that was a little too. What's the word I'm looking for? It was a little too Hollywood. You know what I'm saying? It really wasn't robot like in the sense of like Asimov's robots. And
Sue says no. Says no to Transformers.
Yeah. So
they're working. Dr. Alexander reports they are working on semi-autonomous UAVs that can be targeted. In other words, you target a building and have your wingman control. So it's kind of like it's just like a radar guided missile type thing. UAV attack and drop a 250 to 500 pound GPS guide.
Yeah, but see, that's still human controlled, though. I mean, it's not the robot's not firing that autonomously on its own, saying, "Oh yeah, there's a target."
Which Fox is that? Is that Fox 1, Fox 2, or Fox 3, Doc? I just recently learned the difference between Fox 1, Fox 2, and Fox 3.
So, but anyway, yeah. Like so, I mean, there's a whole. Obviously, there's a lot of what is the definition of robot? Is it something that's just a machine that runs a certain program, like we see in like a auto factory?
Mm-hmm.
Is it something that we expect to move around on its own, making at least limited decisions on what it should do within its parameters, or is it something even more closer to an AI where it really can do almost anything you ask it to do within reason?
The answer to all of those questions is yes. All of those. Robot has fallen under each of those categories and continues to fall under each of those categories to this day.
Right.
And has done so in Hollywood, as we will discuss with Dave when Dave comes on at the end of the month. Yeah, I mean, there's been quite the evolution, and we've seen it on screen and we're seeing it in real life.
Yeah.
Does art follow reality, or does reality follow art? In this case, it's a little.
Well, I mean, this one follows some very standard Hollywood tropes. I mean, we have the evil computer.
Oh, there's always a good evil.
We have
always a good evil.
We have and it's always a big glowing ball of some
Love
kind.
me.
It's always got loud lights and stuff. And it's always in some ridiculous place.
That's how you know.
That cracked me up too. It's like, why is it hanging from like in the middle of nowhere?
Also, did you notice that they were kind enough to differentiate the evil robot, our bad robots in this movie? Red light.
Right. Right. When it was blue, it was the good. Yeah. So, but again, and then the typical misdirection where we think the evil genius is actually the guy, the CEO of U.S. Robotics.
Yeah,
he's the one that wants to take over the world. It's what we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
Doc says, wingman UAV dropping the weapon. You target it, and the wingman attacks it. Yeah, Fox is aired it. I was being a little facetious with the Fox, but we still don't understand how the UAV. So it's just a drone. The UAV is just a drone that goes to drop this bomb, is what you're saying, Doc. Is that what you're saying? I don't know.
So, but anyway, yeah. So so that's kind of where it's like and again, it's almost the HAL 9000 where the Vicky has kind of lost it.
Yes,
and
there's also actual moving machines that turn evil too, like Maximilian in Black.
Right. No, I was just talking about this specific movie. Yes, we have those. But again, again, Maximilian was kind of programmed that way by his owner. Eventually, he turned on his own guy in that movie. But I don't know. Maybe we'll do the Black Hole. That was what, 1980?
Somewhere in there, yeah.
We might do it another time. I don't know if we're going to do it under the robot guys. Maybe we'll do it under daunting, pedantic theme songs.
Daunting, is that a new topic for us? Daunting, pedantic theme songs. Doc is still on Fox 1. An easier way to think of it, guys, Fox 1 is radar guide and Fox 2 is heat seeker. Or at least it was when I was looking up the Top Gun movie. When I was doing the Top Gun research 2 weeks ago.
I used to know all that stuff when I was playing more of the
changed since then.
Flight simulator stuff. So
could have changed since then. If someone fires Fox 2, do not put your big honking exhaust port right in front of it. That would be bad. You don't want that.
No. The other thing, speaking of jets and stuff like that, at the very end when they finally conquer, they destroy Vicky and all the people in the streets, which I do like the fact that the people were fighting back against the robots. Like, so, the question, it would be questionable whether this would have worked even had they not stopped Vicky. Because humans still outnumbered, I think they said the robots 5-1.
Oh.
And
But could we destroy it? Like, we'd need weapons to destroy it. How could we chop?
Well, again, at the very end, if you notice, which I thought was kind of out of place, there's this like all these like what 4 jets come flying over the city and do like a starburst.
Yeah, I saw that
pattern, and I'm like, what
were they doing?
The hell did that have to do?
Did the president call out the Air Force? Like, how do they know what was going down?
Yeah, I mean, I assume, of course, assuming that the robots didn't control the weaponry, which I hope we'd never stupid enough to do that, aka
Skynet,
Skynet, or war games. But that we would be able to just wipe out the robots, because they're clearly they're vulnerable. They were vulnerable to impact. I mean, people were beating them up with pipes and stuff. Granted, they're fast, but they're not going to be faster than a bullet or firearm. So I think ultimately, the human race wins that one, even if no matter how many robots, because we outnumbered them 5-1, and we're just still smarter than they are.
I would. That's questionable. Yeah, Bill, if we let the robots take over, it's war games.
Yeah. The other thing they didn't explain is why Lake Michigan was dried up. I assume that was just a statement on global warming, because that's what remember he said. He goes, what you see here is Lake Michigan, and it
was clearly a nice enough future. There was plenty of food.
Yeah, I don't know why it was like, why. So like, it would have been nice to have some say like after the big earthquake of whatever in the lake, the water drained out or something, or whatever the reason was. But yeah, they didn't imply that there was a environmental crisis that would have caused a Great Lake to dry up completely, or at least enough that it was far away from.
That was a little bit odd.
Everything
else about it was a really nicely thought out future, including right down to the prices, which are shockingly accurate. The price for like steak and eggs or something in that cafe they were in was like $30, and someone did the math from 2004 to 2019, and it's on track. Like it had.
Yeah, no, I think look at how much inflation
we're on track
already.
to be there by 2035.
Yeah. We go get Chinese food, and it's a $60-$70 bill for 3 people.
Yeah, for dinner. Yeah, it's unbelievable. Martin says, talk about robots. What's your take on the robots in the Orville? Yeah, Isaac.
Talking about the what are they called? What are the
Kaylon?
The Kaylon.
Yeah,
they're more of an AI, almost an android, because they're self-aware.
They're self-aware, but they overthrew their human overlords. Right. They were not being treated well by. They were
they were abused. They did show some flashbacks. And
they showed flashbacks.
They were basically abusing these robots.
Where people were abusing the robots, and the robots were like, "Screw this," and took over. And now,
that's another trope where the robots or the androids become a slave race.
Yes.
Because humans don't look at them; they look at them as hardware. They're no different than your car. You can't enslave your car. You can abuse your car, but it's still just a chunk of metal.
But the car's not going to come back and get you.
Right, and the car doesn't have feelings. But clearly, and it's kind of what happened again in the first season of Picard. Not to give you any spoilers, but if you haven't seen it by now, well, tough. But it's 3 years ago. I mean, that's kind of what happened. And they built this sort of slave race of androids, and
yeah.
Were they being abused? To some degree, because they were sticking them in dangerous situations. And if they got destroyed, so be it.
Yeah. Hola, Pablo from Mexico says, what about AI? Yeah, AI was a little bit different. That was an android.
We're talking about the film AI?
The film, yeah, with Haley Joel Osment. I don't know if that really truly falls under. It's another, I don't think that really falls under robots, though.
Again, my thinking was to stay more towards this type of robot where it's not 100% autonomous, where it does need some kind of guidance, but it is still very mechanical. It doesn't have a lot of human traits. I know this movie kind of blurs that line a little bit.
Traits,
yeah. But they weren't human. You would never mistake one for a human.
No.
There was the way they moved even was different.
They're joint.
You could see all the mechanics of it. Yeah. But even if you would, let's say you put a shell on these that looked human, it would still, the motion of it didn't look, it had that very T-1000 kind of.
Yes, it did. Yeah. The way it walked. Yeah.
So
all right, let's look through our cast really quick because we do have a couple.
Oh yeah, we got some connections.
We've got some interesting cast members here. Of course, we do have Will Smith, back in the old days when we still liked him. Bridget Moynihan.
When he's not punching people on television.
Bridget Moynihan, her claim to fame was she was Tom Brady's girl for a hot minute there. I don't know what else she's done. What else has Bridget Moynihan
She
done?
doesn't have a very extensive list of stuff. I mean, she's done a lot of stuff, but nothing John Wick. She was in John Wick 2. I guess she's not been a very standout actress, but she's been in a bunch of stuff.
But she's reliable. I mean, I thought she did fine in this.
No, I think she did fine. I mean, she played that kind of, you know.
She did it right.
She played it almost as a robot herself.
That really.
She was very like
analytical person.
Crazy.
Although she softens up, and she softens up because the whole first part, the whole thing where the hair is back like this, and then finally toward the end, down,
she clearly mellows. She becomes less robotic.
Yeah.
At the end of the
that's Hollywood for
Hollywood.
Female characters.
They didn't pick that up. We kind of
And we already talked about Alan Tudyk, who did go on to also in his robot repertoire voice and star in Rogue One. What was it? Sorry.
Oh, yeah, the big robot there. I forgot what the heck
K2SO or K250.
Yeah.
Something like that. All right, moving on. We had Bruce Greenwood. We know Bruce. He took a quick tour of duty as Pike.
Captain Pike. Yeah, and I want to say I actually liked him as Captain Pike. I thought he played a good Pike. I thought he was fun. I think if they had brought him back instead of Anson,
I would have been fine.
I love Anson, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I think he would have been okay in that role. I think he would have fit.
Fine.
I think he's a good Pike.
He's the Pike who came up with hit it, right? He was the first one to say hit it.
Maybe. You might be right. Actually, I know everybody doesn't like, I shouldn't say not everybody. There's a lot of people that do like, but most Trek fans do not like the JJ Trek. The one thing I would say that they did get right, I think the casting was really good on those films.
Oh yeah,
as far as who they cast for all the different, I thought they did a really good job.
I liked that. I liked Carl Urban.
Carl Urban was a great McCoy. He was probably the best.
Love Uhura, but whatever.
Yeah, she was probably the weakest of the casting, but anyway, I even like Simon Pegg as Scotty.
And I like Simon Pegg. He was fine too.
So, anyway, moving on.
James Cromwell, and James Cromwell is another Star Trek alum. We know him best.
Several different things.
Yes, he's been in a bunch. We probably know him best as Dr. Zephram Cochrane himself. He likes to dream right between the sound machine when he's taken off at Warp 1 for the first time ever. But he also took a turn on Star Trek Enterprise. He did something on Next Gen. He did something on Deep Space Nine. He was around.
He's done tons of stuff. Yep. Moving on. Shy McBride. I like Shy McBride. He's another great actor. I wish we see him more.
I wish we saw him more.
Recently, he hasn't done much, has he?
No. He hasn't, but he was on one of those things like SVU or something like that.
Yeah, he had his own show there for a while too, way back, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he had a sitcom,
like a family Fox or something,
like a family sitcom type thing.
Yeah.
I like Shy. I
think he's good. He kind of reminds me of the guy that became a senator. In some ways, what the heck is the guy that was on Hunt for Red October that played the Admiral? Ruskies don't take a dump without a plan, son.
Oh.
You know what I'm talking about?
Oh.
He eventually became a senator.
Yes.
Or a congressman or something.
Yes. I know exactly what you're talking about.
He kind of reminds me of that character when he does his thing. Like, I don't know why. He just
got that hard edge to him. Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but it kind of just reminds me.
That guy's name, it'll come to me.
I know. I can't. I
know exactly. I can see his face.
He was always the perfect. He always played a good admiral or something.
Yeah, he always played a good admiral. Yeah. Or a senator.
Anyway,
a very young Shia LaBeouf, who I don't even know what that character's point was. It wasn't exposition.
Yeah, he had no issue. Like, you see him early on, and then at the end, Will has to rescue him from being. But that's like, you don't even know what their relationship is. Like, how he's
How
just
do they
some
know
street
each other? Why
kid.
is he
Like, how does
spending?
Will know him?
Yeah,
Like, is he, is he the neighbor's kid? Like,
yeah.
there was like this. That was
Just a
kind of like
street, a
just a
kid in the
hanging
street that you
thread.
just got to know.
Yeah, and
It was weird.
so this is obviously before he did Transformers,
Yes, this was
right?
before This
So,
is a young
and it was
Shia LaBeouf, but we still
before
like
Indiana Jones,
before
right?
he got coked up and things went wrong. Yeah, we like this is Will and Shia before we don't like him anymore.
Before we don't like him anymore. Anyway, what was we looking for? Oh, Terry Chen. I believe he was in The Expanse, if I'm not mistaken.
He may well have been, yeah.
I believe. Let me see.
Terry Chen. You know who Terry Chen is? If any of you guys have seen the movie Almost Famous, Terry Chen played Ben Fong Torres, and he had this really deep voice, and he's like, "Hello, this is Ben Fong Torres," and it was just really funny. He plays the editor at Rolling
and he's
Stone
also
magazine.
in The Last of Us. He also has a small part in The Last of Us.
Ben Fong Torres.
Yeah.
From Rolling Stone magazine.
In The Expanse, he was the scientist that was on the moon that got, what was it, Europa or whatever, that got destroyed, and he's looking for his daughter.
And the daughter. Yes, he was the botanist, right?
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Yeah, he had the big. I always remember because he had the big stitch. His head was half shaved, and he had a massive wound that was stitched. You could still see all the stitching.
That's cool.
The Expanse was such a great show.
Yeah,
it really was done so well. We've already done it, but yeah, it was just really.
We need to do it again.
Do it again. We're gonna do it again.
We can do it again.
I'm gonna do it again.
We got Peter Shinkoda. He's around. He does stuff. You would know Peter.
So the rest of them are people are not really anybody that we really know. So it kind of rounds up.
The other big road to all roads lead to Star Trek. The other big road. Akiva Goldsman, who wrote this thing, is also now. We all know Akiva. He's behind all the new Star Trek. He's behind Disco. He's behind Picard. He's behind a bunch of the new stuff. Also, I can't help. I don't know if this counts as a road or not, but I can't help but notice that Star Trek took the way of saying "I Robot" and they did "I Mud," "I Borg," and I believe they did one other "I something," "I Mud," "I Borg," and "I something else."
I'm pretty sure this probably came out from because at the time everything like Apple was, well, it still is iPad, iPod, iPhone. Although there was no iPhone then. I think that's where they got the I robot. Yeah. Everything became I something. It was just
I don't think that's it. Because this is this is a pronoun, comma, as in I am robot. Whereas iPhone, that's a little lowercase.
Right, but I think they're playing on that.
I don't think
I could be wrong, but I think they're playing on that iRobot, iPod thing. But you're right. It's saying it's kind of a declaration.
Yes, it's a declaration.
Yes, I know, Bill. It was also the name of the book that this has nothing to do with.
Yeah, the book that has nothing to. Yes,
right. But I mean, I think they were kind of going.
It's neither the book nor the short story.
On the.
It wasn't even based on. It wasn't even. It was not even inspired by. It was suggested.
It actually says it at the end. Suggested by Isaac Asimov.
It's a suggestion.
We got the rule. We got a character name and the 3 laws. I think that's about where it ends.
Yeah, I agree.
It's about a robot.
And I'm just looking over the cast. Nothing else. Any other? Nope. Nothing else.
No, I mean, overall, okay. So my basic. This is an entertaining film. Is it something you seek to watch? I don't know. I saw it back in 2004. I don't think I saw it in the theater. I'm pretty sure I saw it when it came on HBO or whatever.
Yeah, I think I did too.
And it was okay, and it never went back to it. I just watched it over the weekend again, probably the second time I've ever watched it from beginning to end.
It was okay.
Pretty much had the same reaction. I mean, it's good. It's entertaining. It holds your interest. It moves along. Is it deep? No.
Oh.
Are there any deep messages somewhere sunken in there?
Not super deep.
Not really anything that jumps out at me that says that's profound. Yeah, I mean, this movie was strictly built as an entertainment venue type. There's no nothing really else in it. And it's another, I think, was a way to get Will Smith to run around.
Yeah, I agree.
You know,
the effects are decent. They don't look horrific now when you look back on them.
No, they hold together. I mean,
right.
Like you said, there are some really cool scenes. I mean, that I like when they're in the big warehouse and they have
I like that too.
And they all kind of answer together when it says, robots, and they go, nobody move or which one, he's kind of trying to ask them which one's doesn't belong here. I like the way he kind of does this.
Yeah. But if they're I always wondered this, if they're in lines, I wondered this the first time I saw it, and I wondered again, seeing it again. If they're in lines, so many this way and so many this way, and now you need to squeeze in one more. How do you do
he should have been down at the corner or something, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it should have been so obvious.
Yeah, he should have been obvious that he wasn't right because it was so perfect. You're right. That's good. I thought of that too.
Perfect.
So, it's again, that's suspension of disbelief.
It looked good. The stuff like the scene like in the cafe, he and Shy McBride go in, him and his boss go in, and they're sitting there having a meal together, and the robot's serving. That looked great. Like, that looked like it is a possible future that could be, where a robot just does the menial tasks, the menial labor kind of things. And,
Yeah, and we may get to that point. I think if we haven't somehow screwed ourselves over as a race, I think eventually we'll get to that point where some kind of automation will take away all the menial type jobs, which we've already seeing it. I'm saying in factory work and stuff like that. That there's a lot of jobs that have been replaced by technology, and that's just normal evolution of technology, is that you're always going to displace somebody.
Yes, unfortunately,
true. But usually these things open up other opportunities. Now you need somebody to maintenance those robots and fix them and program them and do all this other stuff. So it all balances out in the end.
Bye, Doc.
Overall, I give it at least 1 thumb up. It's not a 2 thumb up movie. It's a 1 and 1.5. So 1.5. Yeah. So it's not bad. I mean, watch it. If you haven't seen it, it's not, you got nothing else to do, bored, like Will Smith, watch it.
He was in his heyday. We all loved him.
He was definitely, it was only a few years really. When was Independence Day was what, 98? 96, something like that. So, we're only talking less than 10 years from off. That was really what skyrocketed him. So
96. Wow, 96.
Yeah, so we're talking less than 10 years though.
10 years later. But after that started him, and he just kind of hit his
started. So he was banging them out, Men in Black, that kind of thing.
Yeah, Bill Sotak, he does slap robot. I think he does punch. He fights with the robots.
Does he slap any robots in it? Well, he tackles one.
He tackles one for sure.
Yeah, and he shoots
at the very end where they're all climbing, like all the robots are climbing and they're fighting. Yeah, that's the big scene.
Well, that was one creepy scene when they're all climbing up the building.
That was a little creepy.
It was like the ants or something.
It was like World War Z, only with robots.
That was kind of creepy. All right. Well, I think we probably killed.
We killed the robot.
Killed the robot on this one, but like I said, it's an okay movie. I think it had some merit, but certainly not cutting edge by any means.
Not anymore.
Next week we are, like I think we already mentioned, we're going to do Westworld. So
we're doing Westworld. Roy is doing on Roy's Tie-Dye Sci-Fi is doing Outland. We covered this last year or the first year.
Over a year ago.
Over a year ago. Sean Connery, you guys remember that one. Yep. And Phil is going to be interviewing Travis Larson on the launch of his new album, New Exhibit. That's tomorrow at 3:15 p.m. on WUSB Stony Brook 90.1 FM, or wherever you stream stuff. The internet nearest you, I guess.
So, okay, that's it.
That's it.
No other thing. All right. On that note, then, we will see you guys next week.
Westworld, Yul Brynner.
Westworld, little Yul Brynner action. It's funny because, we'll talk about it next week. It's. I think this movie holds more in our hearts than it actually gives. It does, as far as holding together after almost 50. Well, about 50 years, right? 73. So yeah, they're getting there. Yeah. So pretty old movie. Anyway, Till next week, guys. Live long and prosper. We'll see you. Be safe. And we'll catch you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.